good evening, and welcome back to Science for Sleep. Tonight, we explore something that surrounds you every second of your life. Something invisible, something silent, something that may be influencing how you feel, even when you cannot hear it. Sound. But not the sound you consciously notice. Not music, not voices, not the hum of traffic outside your window. We are talking about something more subtle, more mysterious, sound waves that exist beyond the range of human hearing. Frequencies that move through the air, through buildings, through your body, without your awareness. Some scientists believe these silent frequencies can influence mood, stress levels, anxiety, even sleep. Others believe the idea is exaggerated, misunderstood, or sometimes turned into conspiracy theories far beyond the evidence. Tonight, we will carefully explore what science actually knows, what remains uncertain, and what may simply be imagination. Because the truth about sound is more fascinating than fiction. To begin, we must understand something fundamental. Sound is vibration. When an object vibrates, it pushes against the air around it. Those tiny pushes travel outward as waves. When those waves reach your ears, specialized cells inside your inner ear convert vibration into electrical signals. Your brain then interprets those signals as sound. But your ears are limited. Humans typically hear frequencies between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. Anything below that range is called infrasound. Anything above that range is called ultrasound. These frequencies are real. They exist constantly in our environment. Yet most of the time you never notice them. But just because you cannot hear them does not mean your body cannot detect them. Some animals are extremely sensitive to these hidden vibrations. Elephants communicate with infrasound across miles of open land. Whales send low-frequency signals across entire oceans. Bats navigate using ultrasonic echoes. The natural world is filled with communication happening outside human perception. But what about humans? Can silent frequencies influence our mood? To answer that question, we must explore how the human body responds to vibration. Because sound waves do not interact only with the ear. They interact with the entire body. Your bones vibrate. Your chest cavity vibrates. Even your internal organs can subtly resonate with certain frequencies. Researchers studying infrasound have discovered that extremely low frequencies can sometimes produce unusual sensations. Some people report feelings of unease, a sense of pressure in the chest, a vague anxiety without obvious cause. In certain environments, people have described feeling watched, unsettled, or emotionally disturbed. Later, measurements revealed the presence of low-frequency sound waves. These waves were generated by industrial machines, ventilation systems, wind turbines, even natural geological activity. One famous experiment conducted by a researcher named Vic Tandy involved a laboratory where workers reported strange experiences. They described a feeling of dread, cold spots, even ghost-like apparitions in the corner of their vision. After investigating the room, Tandy discovered something unexpected. A standing wave of infrasound around 19 Hz. This frequency is near the resonant frequency of the human eyeball. The vibration was subtle enough that it was not heard. But it caused tiny distortions in vision. Shadows seemed to move. Peripheral shapes appeared briefly. What felt supernatural was actually mechanical vibration. This discovery sparked intense interest. Could low-frequency sounds subtly influence human emotions? Could environments filled with hidden vibration affect mood? Some studies suggest the answer may be yes, but the effect is usually subtle and highly dependent on intensity. At extremely low levels, infrasound may have little noticeable impact. At higher levels, it can cause discomfort, headaches, nausea, or stress responses. But here is where things become more interesting. Because the brain itself operates using rhythm. Your brain produces electrical patterns known as brainwaves. These patterns change depending on your mental state. When you are alert and focused, your brain produces beta waves. When relaxed, alpha waves dominate. As you fall asleep, slower theta waves appear. And during deep sleep, your brain shifts into powerful delta waves. Your brain is constantly oscillating, constantly vibrating electrically. Some researchers have wondered whether external rhythms, including sound frequencies, could interact with these internal brain rhythms. Could outside vibration influence brainwave activity? There is some evidence that rhythmic sound patterns can entrain brain activity. This phenomenon is called brainwave entrainment. For example, slow rhythmic sounds can encourage relaxation. Certain pulsing tones may help guide the brain towards sleep states. Meditation recordings often use this principle intentionally, but the effects are typically modest. They help guide attention, not control the mind. The brain is far too complex to be controlled by a single frequency. Yet the idea of hidden frequencies influencing human psychology has captured public imagination. Some believe governments secretly use sound waves to manipulate populations. Others claim certain buildings produce frequencies that cause fear or depression. These ideas are popular online. But the scientific evidence for large-scale mind control through sound waves is extremely weak. Most known effects occur only at specific intensities and under controlled conditions. The truth is more subtle. Your environment constantly shapes your mood. Lighting, temperature, social signals, and yes, sound. Even when you are not consciously aware of it. As you prepare to sleep tonight, your brain will slowly shift into slower rhythms. Your breathing will deepen, your muscles will relax, and the world around you will grow quieter. But vibration never fully stops. The earth itself hums with low-frequency energy. Wind moves through buildings. Air circulates. Machines operate in distant rooms. Tiny vibrations continue moving through space. And your brain continues interpreting signals. Even while you sleep, continue listening. Now let your breathing slow again. Because the deeper we move into this topic, the stranger it becomes. Throughout history, people have described places where something feels wrong. Old buildings, empty corridors, large halls where the air feels heavy. People report an uneasy sensation, a vague anxiety, a feeling that something unseen is present. For centuries, these experiences were explained through superstition, ghosts, spirits, supernatural forces. But in the late 20th century, researchers began asking a different question. What if some of these sensations were caused by sound waves that humans cannot hear? Infrasound. Low-frequency vibrations below the range of hearing. To understand this possibility, scientists began measuring environments where strange sensations were reported. They placed sensitive microphones capable of detecting frequencies below 20 Hz. In several cases, they discovered something remarkable. Hidden in the background of these locations were powerful standing waves of infrasound. These waves were often produced by natural airflow, industrial fans, ventilation systems, large machinery, or even wind interacting with architectural structures. When these low frequencies vibrated through a room, people sometimes reported discomfort, a subtle sense of dread, or a feeling of pressure. Not everyone noticed the effect, but some individuals appeared more sensitive than others. And when the source of the infrasound was removed, the strange sensations disappeared. This does not mean every haunted location is explained by infrasound, but it revealed something important. Your brain is constantly interpreting sensory signals, even signals you cannot consciously perceive. When unfamiliar sensations occur, the brain tries to explain them. If a person feels uneasy in a dim room, their mind may interpret the feeling as fear, or presence, or threat. But the real cause may simply be vibration affecting the body. Now consider how sound interacts with physical structures. Every object has a resonant frequency, a natural vibration pattern where energy easily accumulates. When sound waves match that frequency, objects begin to vibrate more strongly. This is why certain notes can shatter glass, why bridges can sway under rhythmic motion, and why certain frequencies can interact strongly with parts of the human body. The chest cavity resonates at certain frequencies. The abdomen resonates at others. And in rare cases, vibration near the frequency of the eyeball can create visual disturbances. Tiny oscillations of the eye can cause blurred shapes or moving shadows in peripheral vision. Imagine standing in a quiet room. You feel slightly uneasy. A shadow moves at the edge of your sight. Your heart rate increases. Your brain searches for explanation. But the source might simply be a vibration you cannot hear. This is not science fiction. It is physics interacting with biology. Yet the story becomes even more interesting when we consider how the nervous system processes rhythm. Your brain is highly sensitive to patterns. It constantly predicts incoming sensory information. When signals match expectations, the brain remains calm. When signals are strange or unfamiliar, the brain activates threat detection. Low-frequency vibrations can sometimes produce ambiguous sensations. Not loud enough to identify as sound, but strong enough to disturb the body. This ambiguity can create psychological tension. Your brain notices something, but cannot explain it, and the result may be unease. Now we must examine something often misunderstood: the relationship between vibration and emotion. Sound affects mood constantly. Music can calm you, or energize you, or make you feel nostalgic. But music does this through complex patterns: melody, harmony, rhythm, memory, emotion. Hidden frequencies alone are unlikely to control human mood in any precise way, but they can influence physical comfort. And physical comfort influences emotional state. For example, consider the low rumble of distant thunder, or the vibration of a passing train, or the deep bass in a concert hall. These sounds interact with the body, sometimes creating excitement, sometimes discomfort. The difference often depends on intensity and context. Researchers studying environmental acoustics have found that prolonged exposure to low-frequency noise can increase stress levels, especially when the source is constant and unpredictable. The body may interpret the vibration as a subtle threat. Stress hormones rise. Sleep quality decreases. Mood shifts over time. But again, these effects are typically modest. The human brain is resilient, and it adapts quickly to most environmental sounds. The idea that hidden frequencies secretly control large populations is not supported by scientific evidence. But there is another layer we have not yet explored. Because sound does more than travel through air. It also travels through solids, through walls, through floors, through the ground beneath your feet. The earth itself produces extremely low-frequency vibrations. These are sometimes called the Earth's hum. Tiny oscillations caused by ocean waves interacting with the seafloor. These vibrations are incredibly faint, far below the threshold of human sensation. But they remind us that our planet is never completely still. Your environment is always vibrating. Your body is always responding. Your brain is always interpreting signals. And during sleep, your brain becomes even more sensitive to certain rhythms. As you drift into deeper sleep stages, external sensory input becomes quieter, but it never disappears completely. Some sounds can still influence your sleep cycles. A sudden loud noise may wake you. A rhythmic sound like rain may help you relax. Some sleep researchers even use soft rhythmic tones to stabilize sleep patterns. But the most powerful influence on sleep remains internal: your circadian rhythm, your hormones, your brain's need for restoration. Hidden frequencies in the environment play only a small role, yet they remind us of something fascinating. Human perception is limited. The world around you contains far more information than your senses reveal. Invisible light, silent vibrations, magnetic fields, cosmic radiation. Reality is richer than human awareness can fully capture. And as you continue listening tonight, your brain will slowly shift towards sleep. Your breathing will slow. Your thoughts will soften. Now settle deeper into stillness. Because the next part of our journey explores something that scientists and sleep researchers have studied for decades: the possibility that sound rhythms can influence the rhythms of the brain itself. To understand this, we must return to something fundamental. Your brain is not silent. Even when you are resting, even when your eyes are closed, your brain is producing electrical patterns. Billions of neurons communicate through tiny pulses of electricity. When many neurons fire together, they create waves of electrical activity. These waves can be measured using electroencephalography, or EEG. Scientists studying EEG patterns discovered that the brain shifts between different frequencies depending on mental state. These are called brainwaves. When you are actively thinking and solving problems, your brain produces beta waves, which range roughly from 13 to 30 Hz. When you relax and become calm but still awake, alpha waves appear. These waves are slower, typically between 8 and 12 Hz. As you drift towards sleep, your brain slows further. You begin producing theta waves around 4 to 7 Hz. These are often associated with dreamlike imagery and deep relaxation. Finally, during deep sleep, the brain enters delta waves, which are extremely slow oscillations below 4 Hz. These waves dominate during the deepest restorative stages of sleep. Now imagine something intriguing. What if external rhythms could gently guide the brain towards certain patterns? This idea is called entrainment. In physics, entrainment occurs when two rhythmic systems begin to synchronize. For example, if two pendulum clocks hang on the same wall, over time their swinging motions may gradually align. Biological systems can also synchronize with external rhythms. Your circadian rhythm aligns with the daily cycle of sunlight. Your heart rate can synchronize with breathing patterns. And researchers have discovered that the brain can sometimes synchronize with rhythmic sensory input. This is where binaural beats enter the conversation. Binaural beats are created when two slightly different frequencies are played separately in each ear. For example, one ear hears a tone at 200 Hz. The other hears a tone at 210 Hz. Your brain does not hear these tones as separate signals. Instead, it perceives a third rhythmic pulse at the difference between them. In this case, 10 Hz. Some researchers have suggested that this perceived rhythm may encourage the brain to shift toward matching brainwave frequencies. A 10 Hz beat may promote alpha relaxation. A 5 Hz beat may encourage theta-like states. A 2 Hz beat might guide the brain toward deep delta sleep. These recordings are often marketed as tools for meditation, focus, or sleep. But what does science actually say? The results are mixed. Some studies show modest effects. Participants listening to binaural beats sometimes show small shifts in brainwave patterns. Some report increased relaxation. Others experience improved focus or easier transitions into sleep. But the effects are not dramatic. Binaural beats do not control the brain. They simply provide rhythmic cues. Your brain remains in control. In many cases, the relaxation people feel may come from simply sitting quietly and listening to gentle sound. Yet the concept of rhythm influencing the brain is real. Even simple sounds can affect mental state. A steady drumbeat can energize a crowd. Soft ambient music can calm anxiety. Rainfall sounds can help people fall asleep. The brain is highly sensitive to patterns. And sound patterns can influence attention and emotion. Now let us explore something fascinating. Some researchers believe that rhythmic sensory input during sleep may influence sleep quality. Experiments have used soft tones synchronized with brain activity to strengthen deep sleep waves. In some cases, these tones increase slow-wave activity. Slow-wave sleep is associated with memory consolidation, cellular repair, immune function, and emotional regulation. This research is still evolving, but it suggests something remarkable. The sleeping brain may be responsive to gentle sensory guidance, not control, but support. However, we must also address exaggeration. Many online claims suggest specific frequencies can unlock hidden powers of the brain. Some say certain tones activate psychic abilities. Others claim frequencies can reprogram subconscious beliefs. These ideas are not supported by scientific evidence. Sound can influence mood and relaxation, but it cannot magically rewire personality or unlock supernatural abilities. The brain is far too complex for simple frequency control. Yet there is still something powerful about sound, because sound affects emotion deeply. Music can bring tears, or joy, or nostalgia, can slow breathing, or raise heart rate. Sound interacts with the brain through multiple pathways: memory, emotion, rhythm, pattern recognition. This is why lullabies help infants sleep, why rhythmic chanting can produce trance-like calm, why gentle ambient sounds can create a sense of safety. And safety is the most important signal your brain needs before it allows deep sleep. When the brain feels safe, the nervous system relaxes, heart rate slows, muscles release tension, sleep begins. In this sense, sound does not control your mood, but it can help create the conditions that allow your brain to shift states naturally. And as you prepare for sleep tonight, your brain will begin that shift, from beta alertness, to alpha calm, to theta dreaming, and eventually, to deep delta restoration. Outside your awareness, rhythms will continue. The rhythm of breathing, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the rhythm of brainwaves drifting slowly through the darkness of sleep. Now allow your thoughts to soften again, because the final part of our journey takes us into territory where science and speculation often collide. Whenever people learn that sound waves can influence the body, the imagination quickly expands. Stories appear, rumors spread, and sometimes conspiracy theories emerge. Some claim governments secretly broadcast hidden frequencies designed to manipulate emotions. Others believe certain music industries embed subliminal tones to influence behavior. There are even claims that entire cities are quietly filled with mood-altering sound waves. These ideas are dramatic. But what does science actually say? To answer this, we must first acknowledge something important. Sound technology has indeed been studied for unusual purposes. For example, military researchers have explored acoustic devices that produce extremely loud directional sound. Some devices can emit focused beams of audio used for crowd control. Others can produce uncomfortable tones to disperse large groups. These technologies rely on volume and intensity, not hidden emotional manipulation. They are designed to be noticeable, not silent. There have also been experiments involving infrasound. Scientists studying extreme environments wanted to understand whether low-frequency sound could cause discomfort or disorientation. In laboratory settings, researchers exposed volunteers to controlled infrasound. Some participants reported mild unease, a sense of pressure, or slight anxiety. But these effects usually occurred only at relatively high intensities, far stronger than what most people encounter in everyday life. The human brain is remarkably resilient. Subtle vibrations rarely override conscious awareness. Mood is influenced by many factors: sleep, nutrition, stress, social interaction, light exposure, and overall health. Sound plays a role, but it is only one part of a much larger system. Now let us explore one of the most persistent myths: the idea of subliminal audio manipulation. In the mid-20th century, some researchers believed hidden messages embedded in sound might influence behavior. For example, playing whispered phrases beneath music, or inserting words below the threshold of conscious hearing. Early claims suggested these techniques could increase purchasing behavior or alter attitudes. But later research produced inconsistent results. Most studies found that subliminal audio had little to no measurable influence on complex decisions. Your brain filters enormous amounts of sensory information. Messages that are too faint to consciously detect are usually ignored entirely. Human behavior is far too complex to be controlled by hidden sounds alone. Still, the fascination with secret frequencies continues. Why? Because sound is invisible, and invisible forces often feel mysterious. But in reality, the science of sound is well understood. Sound waves follow physical laws. They require energy. They decrease with distance. They interact with materials. And their effects on the body depend on intensity and duration. Now let us return to something more meaningful: the relationship between sound and mood. While secret frequencies are unlikely to control emotions, the sounds you choose to surround yourself with can influence how you feel. Soft ambient sounds can lower stress. Gentle music can encourage relaxation. Rhythmic breathing paired with calm sound can help the nervous system settle. These effects are not magical. They occur because sound interacts with emotional memory and physiology. Your brain associates sounds with experiences. A familiar melody may remind you of a peaceful moment. A harsh noise may trigger alertness. Your nervous system constantly interprets the environment. As you prepare to sleep tonight, your brain will gradually reduce sensitivity to external stimuli, but it never turns off completely. Certain sounds may still reach your sleeping mind. A loud noise may briefly wake you. A soothing rhythm may encourage deeper sleep. Researchers studying sleep have discovered that certain gentle sounds can stabilize slow-wave sleep. These sounds are carefully timed to reinforce the brain's natural rhythms. This research is still evolving, but it highlights something beautiful. Your brain is not isolated from the world during sleep. It remains connected, listening quietly, interpreting signals, protecting you, even while you dream. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: the environment around you matters. Not because hidden frequencies secretly control your mind, but because your nervous system responds to signals of safety and comfort. A calm environment encourages deeper sleep. Gentle sounds can create a sense of peace. Darkness signals your circadian rhythm, and your brain responds by slowing its rhythms, preparing for restoration. Tonight, as you close your eyes, the world around you will continue vibrating. Air moving through the room, the distant hum of electricity, the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. These vibrations are not controlling you. They are simply part of the physical world. Your brain will decide what to notice and what to ignore. And gradually, your thoughts will fade, your brainwaves will slow, and the silent rhythms of sleep will begin. Thank you for spending this time with Science for Sleep. If you enjoyed exploring the hidden science of sound and the mind, you can subscribe and join us again as we explore the deepest mysteries of the brain, the body, and the universe, one peaceful night at a time. And now, you can rest. Good night.